So guys, then let me explain you the latest features of our new M2 Dual Teleskoper machine. First of all, we integrated the PC directly into the milling machine for a good reason, to make it more user-friendly for you guys. Because of that fact that we don't have a mouse now or a keyboard, we also designed a new touchscreen surface for the milling software, also to make it more easy to select new burrs, to select new blanks, and of course to start your CNC files. The most obvious advantage of that milling machine are the two separate chambers. Here on the left side we have the new built-in 125mm Teleskoper orbit, and on the right side we have the 95mm standard orbit. A cool new fact about this, here on both sides the orbit is mounted twice, so your milling result, but let me say your blank is much more stable during the milling process. And we also have a new spindle that's much more shorter than the old one, and because of that fact we also have less vibration during the milling process, and less vibration means that your milling results are much more exact. Good. Why do we call it Teleskoper orbit? When you have that machine, you can mill all blank sizes, what we are going to offer in the future, and 95mm of course, 98mm blank, and 106mm, and of course the 125mm blanks. Okay, so because of that fact, of that size of that orbit, the smaller blanks have to be clamped in special blank holders to be able to mill them. So why do we call it Teleskoper orbit? A small example. We want to realize telescopic work. We take a 95mm standard chrome cobalt blank. We put it into the blank holder and place it into our Teleskoper orbit. Then we design and mill a secondary structure. After the milling process, we take the whole package, go to our workplace, test our pre-milled primary structure inside. If the friction is a little bit too tight, no problem. We bring the whole package back to the Teleskoper orbit, mill or recalculate the CNC and make the friction a little bit more loose, like in our other milling machines. So what are the big advantages of that system, of that machine? Like I told you before, you can mill all future blank sizes. The machine is never blocked by just one job, what has to be milled, for example. The possibility that you can start and stop your milling process at any time you want. That means, for example, you have a very urgent temporary what you have to mill. So here on the left side you stop the milling process, and now on the right side you put your temporary inside, mill it, and later you can mill here back again. So then also a cool feature, or let me say, that machine is built for the double milling function. What is double milling? Here in the double milling you have the possibility to design and mill the occlusal side of a temporary, for example, even before the actual implant placement of the dentist. Afterwards you mill this, you remove it from the Teleskoper orbit, then you receive the new implant impression from the dentist. You choose your implant type, you design the basal surface of your temporary, bring the whole package back to the Teleskoper orbit, and then you make the recalculation in the nesting, and then you mill and finish your temporary structure. When you guys say you also want to have the possibilities here in this chamber, then you could take the milling, the M2 Dual double Teleskoper, then you have the Teleskoper orbits on both sides. Or when you have the machine like me here, no problem, this side of the 95mm standard blank orbit you can always retrofit with an 125mm Teleskoper orbit. Then in the middle chamber we also integrated a small QR code scanner, QR code camera, to read and scan new burrs. The advantage here is that every burr is, or let me say, the software always knows exactly where each burr is located in the software, so you avoid unusual milling results because of an incorrect placed burr, for example. Then You also see here 3 removable tool plates, 8 each with 21 tool slots, so it results in 63 burrs. And in that way, when you equip our milling machine with 63 burrs, you can mill every material what we offer, from zirconia to metal, even without to change one single burr. In that case, you also can add and create virtual milling sets or tool plates in our milling software. If you want, you could order another tool set, equip it and put them on if you want. So you see, your M2 always has a spare burrs to hand. And another thing, keyword cleaning. In Circuitron we always like it to have it clean, and that's why we also integrated a new drying and cleaning function for the spindle in both chambers. And we also have a newly designed suction jet directly aligned to the orbit. The big advantage behind less accumulation of milling chips and zirconia dust inside the milling chamber, and of course less cleaning effort. Another cool detail is that the machine has, or let me say both chambers has a drain inside. That means that you can decide on which side you want to mill, wet or dry. And if it's really required, you also can mill in both chambers, wet and dry. Yeah? The last fact here, we also mounted a small cleaning set on the machine rail on the right side for convenient and manual cleaning of the milling chambers after the milling process. And you see, when you have easy cleaning possibilities, then of course the machine will be cleaned much more often by us technicians, and then we will have much more fun with it.